Welcome back to the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland. This is the site of the Republican debates on Thursday. We are in the spin room. This is where people will come right after the debate and talk to the press. Joining us now to talk about a little preview of this debate, host and also author of the new book, Plunder and Deceit, Big Government's Exploitation of Young People and the Future. And in Washington tonight, syndicated columnist George Will. Mark, let me start with you. Your thoughts heading into this debate, kind of the state of the Republican Party, looking at all of these candidates and what they're thinking about heading into the debate.
I think the state of the Republican Party is not that great. I don't think the state of the Democrat Party is that great either, by the way. But that said, we have 17 candidates. I guess we could have 717 candidates. People are now vying for control of the Republican Party. So this is very, very important. For me, a conservative who worked in the Reagan campaigns and the Reagan administration, we've seen something like this before, not the numbers of candidates, but there is a fight now on for control or at least perceived control of the Republican Party. That's important. So you see a number of the conservatives in the party. You see a number of the more establishment Republican types. You see, obviously, Trump out there, who's resonating somewhat. So that's how I see it. I see this as a fight for the Republican Party, first and foremost.
George, your thoughts?
Well, the Republicans have been fighting with one another since Teddy Roosevelt split with William Howard Taft in 1912. On Thursday night, it's going to be like three-dimensional chess because you have 10 candidates on stage, each with their own needs, and you're going to have at least two important audiences. One audience is the Republican base, whose mood at the moment I think can best be described as volcanic. This debate takes place in the shadow of the Planned Parenthood imbroglio here in Washington. And the Republican base simply cannot understand the reasons, and there are good reasons, but they cannot understand the reasons why they send Republican majorities to both houses of Congress and still can't defund Planned Parenthood. So I think they're looking for a candidate who will affirm and validate their anger at the moment. Another group of Republicans watching this debate will be looking for someone who can get to 270 electoral votes. That is, they're simply trying to find someone who's the most plausible candidate to defeat the most likely Democratic nominee, Mrs. Clinton. So you have 10 candidates, different needs, and two audiences with somewhat different emphases.
Yeah. So, Mark, talk about that, the battle of electability, about getting somebody who can win against a Democratic nominee. How important is that to the base of the party? And does George accurately say that anger describes the base?
No, I don't think anger describes the base. I think disappointment and frustration describes the base, and rightly so. We have a Republican Congress that keeps surrendering its constitutional powers, including the power of the press, when they keep announcing we're not going to shut down the government. They may not want to, but they shouldn't surrender these constitutional powers against the most lawless president in my lifetime. And that said, I don't see this as mutually exclusive, that the conservative base can't support a candidate who's electable. I heard that before with Reagan against Ford and Reagan against Bush, and we had two massive landslides. I don't know how many more times we have to nominate the person who's most electable and gets slaughtered in these elections. I think the conservative message is a broad-based, strong message, and we need to try it now and then. Nobody, if you're 45 years old or younger, you've never had an opportunity to vote for an actual conservative for president. You've voted for Republicans, you voted for establishment Republicans, but just in general, the nomenclature, conservative, you have not had that opportunity. And my view is, I think a lot of people in the Republican Party are going to be looking at this debate, trying to find the conservative that they want to support.
Well, quickly, Mark, do you think Donald Trump is that conservative? Is he conservative?
Well, I think we're going to find out. You know, people want to write his epithet right away, or they want to throw him on their shoulders right away and march him around. He's a candidate among many candidates. He's at 26%, which is very impressive, but that tells me there's 74% out there who haven't decided on him yet. My attitude is, why don't we let them debate a few times, and then we'll make a decision about whether he or somebody else is viable, because that's what it's going to take.
All right, quickly, George, any surprises or any things you look for before tomorrow?
I think there are two candidates who have to look at this as a moment to regain some ground. One is Ted Cruz, who's lost a lot of ground because he had staked out the position as the man most angry at the Republican establishment and has lost the most ground probably because of the entrance of Donald Trump. For Jeb Bush, this is a chance for him to stand on stage with other Republicans and say, I'm not different, I am a conservative, I have a conservative record and need to be judged as they are by the normal conservative catechism.
George, Mark, thank you. Again, the book, Plunder and Deceit, #1 on Amazon. Mark, thanks for being here, and we'll see you both tomorrow. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. The first debate starts at 5 Eastern. As we said, the primetime event begins at 8:50 p.m. Well, this is really behind the scenes, and it's really where it all happens. This is the mobile production truck. This is where all the shots will be taken from. The production team will be here, seated throughout the debate. Right behind me, Vinny, the director, he'll take all the shots, the different cuts, and it should be interesting. We're working over all the different shots right now, practicing, getting ready for Thursday night's debates. Special report continues after the break.